Those of you in the back, you can come forward if you'd like. And there's more chairs on the sides here, so the Prabhus, men can sit on this side, and the ladies or Matajis can sit on the other side. Please come forward. Okay, so before we begin, I just want to also apologize for the heating. I know it's a bit cold in the temple room, so yeah, please keep your jackets on. Hopefully it'll be fixed tonight, if not tomorrow. We're just missing up a part of the heaters, otherwise it is fixed. But yeah, we apologize for that. Maybe we can get some movement in. Everyone has to be saying the verses, and that'll maybe heat up the room a little bit. And then we're going to start off with our very own Damayanti Devi Dasi, who is going to be reciting on behalf of Bhakti Academy. Haribol.
Namam Vishnupadaya Krishnapristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyadi Shatarini Dharmashetre Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharmashetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamaka Pandavascheva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya Sanjaya Uvacha Drishtva Tu Pandavani Kam Vyudham Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasangamya Rajavachanam Abravit Pashyaitam Pandaputranam Acharyam Mahatim Chamam Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tav Shishyena Dhimata Atra Sura Maheshvasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharatha Drishtaketuschikitana Kashirajascha Viryavan Purujit Kunti Bhojascha Sebyascha Narapungava Yudhamanyuscha Vikranta Utmanujascha Viryavan Subhrado Drupadeyascha Sarva Eva Maharatha Asmakam Vishishyatatye Tannibodha Dvijotama Nayaka Mama Sainyasya Samnartham Tan Pravimnihite Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitim Jaya Ashvathama Vikarnascha Saumadatis Tathaivacha Anyechta Bhavah Sura Madarthe Tyakta Jivitaha Nana Shastra Paharana Sarve Yuddha Visharadaha Aparyaptam Tadasmakam Balam Bhishma Bhirakshitam Paryaptam Tav Idam Itisham Balam Bhima Bhirakshitam Ayaneshu Cha Sarveshu Yatha Bhagam Avashtitaha Bhishmam Eva Bhirakshantu Bhavanta Sarva Evahi Tasya Sanjanayan Harsham Kuru Vriddha Pitamaha सिंहानादं विनाद्योच्छे शङ्खं दधमौ प्रतापवान् तथा शङ्खश्च भैर्यश्च पाणवानीकगोमुखः सहसा एव भ्याहन्ता सा शब्दस्तु मूलोऽभवत् तथा सेवेतिर्हायर्युक्ते महती सन्दने स्थितौ माधवा पाण्डवश्चैव दिव्यौ शङ्खौ पराद्धमतौ पञ्चजन्यं ऋषिकेशो देवदत्तं धनञ्जय पौण्ड्रं दद्मो महाशङ्खं भीमाकर्मावृकोदरः अनन्तविजयं राजा कुन्तीपुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः नकुलः सहदेवश्च सुघोषमणिपुष्पकौ काश्यश्च परमेश्वरः शिखण्डी च महारथः दृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च शक्यकेश्च पराजितः द्रुपदो द्रुपदेयश्च सर्वशः पृथ्वीपते सौभृदश्च महाबाहु शङ्खान् दद्मुः पृथक् पृथक् सघोषो धतराष्ट्राणां हृदयानि व्यदरत् नाभश्च पृथ्वीं चैव तुम्लोभ्यानानुदये अथ व्यवस्थितं दृष्ट्वा धर्तराष्ट्रं कपिध्वजा पर्वते शास्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदम् अहमहीपते अर्जुन उवाच सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयामेच्युता यावदेतान्निरीक्षेष्यं योद्धुकामम् अवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे योत्समाननवेक्षेऽहं या एतेऽत्र समागतः धर्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धे युधे प्रिया चिकीर्षवः
संजय उवाच एवम् उक्तो ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम् भीष्मद्रोणा प्रमुखाता सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्येतान् समवेतान् कुरुनिति तत्रा पश्य स्थितान् पार्थ पितॄन् अथा पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेय सर्वान् बन्धूनवस्थितान् कृपया परयाविष्टो विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत् अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेमां स्वजनं कृष्ण युयुत्सुं समुपस्थितं सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति वेपतुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गान्धीवं शंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदयते न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं भ्रामतीव च मे मनः निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव न च श्रेयोनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च किं नो राजेन गोविन्द किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा येषाम् अर्थे काङ्क्षितं नो राज्यं भोगा सुखानि च त इमेव स्थिता युद्धे प्राणं त्यक्त्वा धनानि च आचार्य पितर पुत्रास्तथैव च पितामहा मातुला श्वशुरा पौत्रा शालासम्बन्धिनस्तथा एतान् न हन्तुमिच्छामि घ्नतोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्यराजस्य हेतो किं नु मही कृते निहत्य धातराष्ट्रान्नः का पृथ्वी स्यात् जनार्दन पापम् एव श्रयेदस्मान् हत्वेतान् आततायिनः तस्मान्नार्ह वयं हन्तुं धातराष्ट्रान् सबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः श्याम माधव यद्यप्येतेन पश्यन्ति लोभोपहतचेतसः कुलक्षया कृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः पापाद् अस्मान्निवर्तितुं कुलक्षया कृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्मा सनातनः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम् अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वर्ष्णेया जायते वर्णसङ्करः सङ्करो नरकायैव कुलग्नानां कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरो हि येषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रियः दोषैरेते कुलग्नानां वर्णसङ्करकारके उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्मा कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वतः उत्सन्नकुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नियतं वासो भवतीत्यनुशुश्रुमा अहो बता महत्पापं कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयं यद्राज्यसुखलोभेन हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यतः यदि माम् अप्रतीकारम् अशस्त्रं शस्त्रपाणयः धार्तराष्ट्ररणे हन्युस्तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत् सञ्जय उवाच एवम् उक्त्वार्जुनः सङ्ख्ये रथोपष्ट उपाविशत् विसृज्य सशरं चापं शोकसंवेग्यमानसः
Sanjay Uvacha. Sanjay said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana Krishna spoke the following words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher plans but to infamy. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Keep up such petty weakness of heart and eyes, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything being enjoyed will be tainted with blood. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of the Dhritarashtra, who should not care to live? Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of my miserly weakness. In this condition I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and I am soul surrender unto you. Please instruct me. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous unrivaled kingdom on earth, with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Thus who are wise lament either for the living nor for the dead. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent evidence of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. O best among men Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore fight, O descendant of Bharata. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor yet he who thinks it slain is in knowledge, or self slays not or is slain. For the soul there is neither birth or death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing and primeval. He is not slain but when the body is slain. O Bharata, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? As a person puts on a new garment, giving up old ones, the soul immediately accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned or dried. It is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Thank you.
It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life is always born and dies forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed. One who has taken birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament.
One who has taken his birth. I'm sorry, I can't see. One who has taken birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the avoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. All created beings are unmanifested in their beginnings, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore you need not grieve for any living being. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom fighting opportunities come and so, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. If, however, you do not perform this religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins of neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person this honor is worse than death. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore get up with determination and fight. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. Thus far I have described the knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Partha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. In this endeavor there is no loss or diminution, and little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purpose of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga.
O Dhananjaya, keep all the abominable activities for the distant, by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. A man engaged in devotional service rides himself on both good and bad actions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages and devotees free themselves from the result of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the stage beyond all miseries by going back to God. When your intelligence has passed out of dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that have been heard and all that is to be heard. When your mind is no longer disturbed by flowery languages of Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak, and what is his language, and how does he sit, and how does he walk? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all the varieties of desire for sense gratification which arise from mental concoction and in his mind, and thus purified, finds satisfaction in self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. One who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold miseries are elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear and anger is called a sage of steady mind. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor dispensing it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense object as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. The embodied soul may be restricted from the sense enjoyment, but the taste of sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagement by experiencing a high taste, he is fixed in consciousness. The senses are so strong and impetuous. O Arjuna, they will forcefully carry away the mind, even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. One who restrains his senses, keeps them under full control and fixes his consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person who develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material world. But a person free from all attachment and aversions and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can never neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? As a strong wind sways away a boat on the water, even of the roving senses on which the mind focuses, one can carry away a man's intelligence. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their object is certainly of steady intelligence. What is night for all the beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all the beings is night for the introspective sage. A person who is not disturbed by incessant flow of desire that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. A person who has given up all the desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desire, who has given up all the senses of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. That is the way of spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God.
कर्मयोग अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः। अर्जुन उवाच जायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव। व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चिन्त्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्। श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ। ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्। न कर्मणामनरारम्भान् नैष्कर्म्य पुरुषोऽश्नुते न च सन्न्यासनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति। न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः। कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते। यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते। नियतं कुरु कर्मत्वं कर्मजायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः। यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर। सह यज्ञः प्रजाः सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् एषवोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक्। देवान् भावयता तेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परम् अवाप्स्यथ। इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवा दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तान् प्रदायेभ्यो यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः। यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषै भुञ्जन्ते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्। अन्नाद्भवति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञाद्भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्मसमुद्भवः। कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम्। तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्। एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयति हयः। अघायुरिन्द्रिया रामो मोघं पार्थ स जीवति। यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्याद् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टस्तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते। नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थो नाकृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः। तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर। असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः। कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः। लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि संस्पर्शन् कर्तुमर्हसि। यद्यद् आचरति श्रेष्ठस्तत्तद्देवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते.
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन नानवाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि. यदि हि अहं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्य अतन्द्रितः मम वर्तमानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः. उत्सिदेयुरिमे लोका न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्तास्याम् उपहन्यामिमाः प्रजाः. सक्ताः कर्मण्य अविद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस तथा सक्तश्चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्. न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानं कर्म संगिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्. प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणे कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते. तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते. प्रकृतेर्गुणसमुद्धाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत्. मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यासध्यात्मा चेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः. ये मे मतम् इदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो अनसूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते ते अपि कर्मभिः. ये त्वेतद् अभ्यसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञान विमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान् अचेतसः. सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतिर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रह किं करिष्यति. इन्द्रियासेन्द्रियास्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्न वशम् आगच्छेत् तौ हि अस्य परिपन्थिनौ. श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्व अनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः. अर्जुन उवाच अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पुरुषः अनिच्छम् अपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः. श्रीभगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एष रजोगुणसमुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विद्य एनम् इह वैरिणम्. धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निर्यथादृशो मलेन च यतोल्बेनावृतो गर्भस्तथा तेनेदमावृतम्. आवृतं ज्ञानम् एतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पुरेणानलेन च. इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिरस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्य एष ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्. तस्मात् त्वम् इन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतऋषभ पापमानं प्रजह्य एनं ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्. इन्द्रियाणि परण्याहुरिन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिर्यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः. एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा संस्थाभ्यात्मानम् आत्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्. ओम तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्ण अर्जुन संवादे कर्मयोगो नाम तृतीयो अध्यायः.
Chapter 4. The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it appears to be lost. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivaswan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? The personality of Godhead said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear, millennium after millennium. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Being freed from attachment, fear and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they have all attained transcendental love for me. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Men in this world desire success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world. According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me, and although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty, following in their footsteps. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions.
He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled although performing actions. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute, and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some of them offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. Some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses. Others, who are interested in achieving self-realization, through control of the mind and senses, offer the function of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Still others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance, practice by offering the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. All of these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifices, they advance towards the supreme eternal atmosphere. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? All these different types of sacrifices are proved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjun, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and who doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus he is not bound by the reactions of work, O conqueror of riches. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight.
Chapter 5, Karma Yoga. Arjuna Vacha, Sannyasam karmanam Krishna, Punaryogam cha shamsasi, Yachreya etayorekam, Tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Sannyasa karma yogascha, Nishreyasa karavubhau, Tayostu karma sannyasat, Karma yogo vishishyate. Neyasa nitya sannyasi, Yona dveshti na kankshati, Nirdvandvo hi mahabaho, Sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Sankhya yoga prithak bala, Pravadanti na panditaha, Ekamapyasthita samyag, Ubhayor vindate phalam. Yat sankhya prapyate sthanam, Tad yogairapi gamyate, Ekam sankhyam cha yogam cha, Yapashyati sapashyati. Sannyasastu mahabaho, Dukkham aptoma yogatah, Yoga yukto munir brahma, Na chirenadi gacchati. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma, Vijittatma jitendriyah, Sarvabhutatma bhutatma, Kurvannapi na lipyate. नैव किञ्चित् करोमीति युक्तो मन्येत तत्त्ववित् पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् जिघ्रन् अश्नन् गच्छन् स्वपन् श्वसन् प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् उन्मिषन् निमिषन्नपि इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन् ब्रह्मणायाधाय कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा करोति य लिप्यते न स पापेन पद्मपत्रमिवाम्भसा कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये युक्तकर्मफलं त्यक्त्वा शान्तिमाप्नोति नैष्ठिकीम् अयुक्तकामकारेण फले सक्तो निबध्यते सर्वकर्माणि मनसा सन्न्यस्यास्ते सुखं वशी नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कारयन् न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः ज्ञानेन तु तदज्ञानं येषां नाशितमात्मनः तेषामादित्यव्यज्ञानं प्रकाशयति तत्परम् तद्बुद्धयस्तदात्मानस्तन्निष्ठस्तत्परायणाः गच्छन्त्य पुनरावृत्तं ज्ञाननिर्धूतकल्मषाः विद्याविनयसम्पन्ने ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि शुनि चैव शुपाके च पण्डिता समदर्शिनः इहैव तैर्जितः सर्गो येषां साम्ये स्थितं मनः निर्दोषं हि समं ब्रह्म तस्मात् ब्रह्मणि ते स्थिताः न प्रहृष्येत प्रियं प्राप्य नोद्विजेत् प्राप्य चाप्रियं स्थिरबुद्धिरसम्मूढो ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मण्यस्त बाह्यस्पर्शेष्वसक्तात्मा विन्दत्यात्मनि यत् सुखं स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा सुखमक्षयमश्नुते ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयोनय एव ते आद्यन्तवन्त कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुध शक्नोति हैव यः सोढुं प्राक्शरीरविमोक्षणात् कामक्रोधोद्भवं वेगं स युक्तः स सुखी नरः योऽन्तो सुखोऽन्तरारामस्तथान्तर्ज्योतिरेव य स योगी ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ब्रह्मभूतोऽधिगच्छति लभन्ते ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ऋषय क्षीणकल्मषाः छिन्नद्वैदयतात्मानः सर्वभूतहिते रताः कामक्रोधविमुक्तानां यतीनां यतचेतसाम् अभितो ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं वर्तते विदितात्मनम् स्पृशान् कृत्वा बहिर्बाह्यां चक्षुश्चैवान्तरे भ्रुवो प्राणपानौ समौ कृत्वा नासभ्यन्तारचारिणौ यतेन्द्रियमनोर्बुद्धिर्निर्मुक्षणपरायणः विगतेच्छा भयो क्रोधो यस्वदा मुक्त एव स भोक्तारं यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वं मां शान्तिमृच्छति
Chapter 6. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "One who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty." What is called renunciation you should know to be the same as yoga or linking oneself with the Supreme. O son of Pandu, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. For one who is a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means, and for the one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. For one who has conquered the mind, the supersoul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor, are all the same. A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by the virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-control. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the envious friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feeling of possessiveness. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. One should hold one's body, neck and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of a nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. Thus, practicing constant control of a body, mind and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attains to the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by the cessation of material existence. There is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist whose mind is controlled remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self. In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind or to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joy state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact.
One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is free from all reactions to past deeds. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Supersoul. I can open here. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Supersoul, knowing that I and the Supersoul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his oneself, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, O Arjuna. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and endurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Lord Sri Krishna said, O mighty-armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work, but he whose mind is controlled and he who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness, and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? O mighty armed Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success, and perish like a riven cloud, with no position in any sphere? This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Son of Parth, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Or, if unsuccessful after a long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly such a birth is rare in this world. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. By virtue of all the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands up always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empirist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. And of all yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. That is my opinion.
ज्ञानविज्ञानयोग अथ सप्तमोऽध्यायः श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यासक्तमनः पार्थ योगं युञ्जन्मदाश्रयः असंशयं समग्रं मां यथा ज्ञास्यसि तच्छृणु ज्ञानं तेऽहं सविज्ञानम् इदं वक्ष्याम्यशेषतः यज्ञात्वा नेह भूयोऽन्यज्ञातव्यमवशिष्यते मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु कश्चिद्यतति सिद्धये यततामपि सिद्धानां कश्चिन्मां वेत्ति तत्त्वतः भूमिरापो नलो वायुः खं मनो बुद्धिरेव च अहङ्कार इतीयं मे भिन्ना प्रकृतिरष्टधा अपरेयमितस्त्वन्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतां महाबाहो ययेदं धार्यते जगत् एतद्योनीनि भूतानि सर्वाणीत्युपधारय अहं कृत्स्नस्य जगतः प्रभवः प्रलयस्तथा मत्तः परतरं नान्यात् किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जय मयि सर्वमिदं प्रोतं सूत्रे मणिगणा इव रसोऽहमप्सु कौन्तेय प्रभास्मि शशिसूर्ययोः प्रणवः सर्ववेदेषु शब्दखे पौरुषं नृषु पुण्यो गन्धपृथिव्यां च तेजश्चास्मि विभावसो जीवनं सर्वभूतेषु तपश्चास्मि तपस्विषु बीजं मां सर्वभूतानां विद्धि पार्थ सनातनं बुद्धिर्बुद्धिमतामस्मि तेजस्तेजस्विनामहम् बलं बलवतां चाहं कामरागविवर्जितं धर्माविरुद्धो भूतेषु कामोऽस्मि भरतर्षभ ये चैव सात्विका भावा राजसास्तामसाश्च ये मत्त एवेति तान् विद्धि न त्वहं तेषु ते मयि त्रिभिर्गुणमयैर्भावैरेभिः सर्वमिदं जगत् मोहितं नाभिजानाति मामेभ्यः परमव्ययम् देवी ह्येषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया माम् एव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां तरन्ति ते न मां दुष्कृतिनो मूढाः प्रपद्यन्ते नराधमाः माययापहृतज्ञान आसुरम्भाहमाश्रिताः चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मां जनाः सुकृतिनोऽर्जुन आर्तो जिज्ञासुरार्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभा तेषां ज्ञानी नित्ययुक्त एकभक्तिर्विशिष्यते प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनोत्यर्थम् अहं स च मम प्रियः उदाराः सर्व एवैते ज्ञानी त्वात्मेव मे मतम् आस्थितः स हि युक्तात्मा मामेवानुत्तमां गतिम् बहूनां जन्मनामन्ते ज्ञानवान् मां प्रपद्यते वासुदेवः सर्वमिति स महात्मा सुदुर्लभः कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानाः प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः तं तं नियममास्थाय प्रकृत्या नियतः स्वया यो यो यां यां तनुं भक्तः श्रद्धयार्चितुमिच्छति तस्य तस्याचलां श्रद्धां तामेव विदधाम्यहम् सतया श्रद्धया युक्तस्तस्याराधनमीहते लभते च ततः कामान् मयैव विहितान् हितान् अन्तवत्तु फलं तेषां तद्भवत्यल्पमेधसां देवान् देवयजो यान्ति मद्भक्ता यान्ति मामपि अव्यक्तं व्यक्तिमापन्नं मन्यन्ते मामबुद्धयः परं भावमजानन्तो ममाव्ययमनुत्तमम् नाहं प्रकाशः सर्वस्य योगमाया समावृतः मूढोऽयं नाभिजानाति लोको मामजमव्ययम् वेदाहं समतीतानि वर्तमानानि चार्जुन भविष्याणि च भूतानि मां तु वेद न कश्चन इच्छाद्वेषसमुत्थेन द्वन्द्वमोहेन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहं सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप येषां त्वन्तगतं पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्मणां ते द्वन्द्वमोहनिर्मुक्ता भजन्ते मां दृढव्रताः जरामरणमोक्षाय मामाश्रित्य यतन्ति ये ते ब्रह्म तद्विदुः कृत्स्नम् अध्यात्मं कर्म चाखिलम् साधिभूतादिदेवं मां साधियज्ञं च ये विदुः प्रयाणकालेऽपि च मां ते विदुर्युक्तचेतसः ॐ तत्सदि श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे ज्ञानविज्ञानयोगो नाम सप्तमोऽध्यायः
Chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme. Arjuna inquired, O Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the Self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. Who is the Lord of sacrifice? And how does he live in the body, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the Self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma, or fruitive activities. O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Abhibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called Adideva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the Supersoul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adigyana, the Lord of sacrifice. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without a doubt. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Parth, is sure to reach me. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is the smaller than smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is unconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like a sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. One who at the time of death fixes his life air between the eyebrows and by the strength of yoga with an undeviating mind engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are the great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of your senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head, one establishes himself in yoga. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pratha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. After attaining me, the great souls, who are yogis in devotion, never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again. Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. Yet, there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. That which is Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading and everything is situated within him. O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from the world, the yogi does or does not come back. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god, in the light, at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. The mystique who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back. According to Vedic opinion, there are 2 ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns. Although the devotees know these 2 paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results deprived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, and giving charity or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode.
Srila Prabhupada ki. So before we go for a little break, I have an important announcement. So appreciate everybody's attention. Hare Krishna, Happy Gita Jayanti to all the assembled devotees. We can look behind. Srila Prabhupada is there, of course, just checking. So we are all here as part of Srila Prabhupada's family and extremely fortunate to be in the association of Srila Prabhupada's disciples. And we are so fortunate, right? Even though it's a cold day and less heating, but we are here together reciting Bhagavad Gita, the most powerful message of Sri Krishna himself, which can solve problems of life in this world. But there are so many people who are not fortunate, who may not be here, who cannot be here for so many reasons. Either they don't know, or they are in a position, could be in a hospital or in prisons perhaps. But I'm here to remind what we all know, that this is the time of the year to join the Gift of Gita program so that many more people can benefit from this message and be part of this reading and many other readings and change their lives. So on behalf of the Sankirtan team, it's my humble duty to remind all the assembled devotees to participate, come forward and join the Gift of Gita program, which is sponsoring Bhagavad Gitas. All of us have Bhagavad Gitas, so I'm not going to say please take one. But you can definitely take Gitas for your friends. Family is the season of giving. That's the easy part. But also thousands and thousands of Bhagavad Gitas you can see on the Gift of Gita banner there. In last 16 years, it's not a small number. Thanks to Mother Meenakshi, Indresh Prabhu, they have been leading this Shastradan placement program through which the sponsored Bhagavad Gitas and other books by Srila Prabhupada are placed very systematically, very professionally in all these institutions. Police, RCMP, prisons, hospitals, motels, many more community centers, schools, libraries, So there are thousands of people, and the number is, I think, 175,000 in last 16 years. So that's something big. Srila Prabhupada said, be brave. You know the story, when the Victoria Memorial in Calcutta was being built, Srila Prabhupada was telling to his disciples that as a child he would climb that building through the scaffolding. And I think it was Gargamuni Prabhu or Brahmananda Prabhu, they said, Prabhupada, you must be very brave. And he said, I'm still very brave. That's why I came alone to this country to share Krishna consciousness. So I'm in the assembly of the most brave, because you're all devotees of Krishna, followers of Srila Prabhupada. So with folded hands, I'm reminding and requesting, it's a community team effort. Everybody please join. Do what you can. There is no minimum, there is no maximum. Today is the most auspicious day. Today is the most auspicious day, it's the Gita Jayanti day. So please take advantage. We have a very, very convenient online donation secured method directly linked to the temple's Bhagavad Gita sponsorship account. The QR code is on that banner, as well as on that little photo banner behind us. So you can even take your picture if you like. Through the cutout, Krishna is holding a Bhagavad Gita for you. So these are the QR codes. We have these gift cards as well. There are QR codes there. It takes 30 seconds. Check the link, talk to somebody, and make your contributions. Of course, they are tax deductible to the temple. So you get the benefit, and with your support, we can actually pass on this knowledge to people all over Canada. So who's ready? Please raise your hand. I'm not looking at you. Haribol. Yes, all of us together, a lot of people, each doing a little bit. So with that, back to you.
Jai, let's give a round of applause for that. Yay, Haribol. So we've now done 8 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. We have 10 more remaining. But before we begin the rest of the 10 chapters, we're going to take a 10-minute break. So we have tea and fruit here for you. And I also just want to apologize for the heating. It is a bit cold in the temple, or not a bit, it is very cold in the temple. So yes, please keep your jackets on. We do apologize. We have some heating starting up in the sides of the temple room, and we're hoping that the heating will start up again either tonight or tomorrow. So we appreciate your patience with us. And yeah, let's take a 10-minute break and then we'll get back started. Haribol. Hare Krishna, everyone. We're just going to start up at 7:35, so you have about 5 minutes to finish up, and we're going to get started. Thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone. We're going to start back up in about 2 minutes. I'm just going to ask that everyone settle down again, grab your seat, finish up drinking your tea and eating your fruits. Hare Krishna, everyone. We're going to start in 1 minute. It's the countdown now. Final 10 chapters. So those of you on the side of the temple room, just going to ask you to please come back in the little circle, grab a seat. There's chairs. There's more room on the ground. Those of you in the back, please come on in. And then we're going to ask everyone to please quiet down. Maybe we'll start Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. Haribol, everyone. So we're going to finally start the last 10 chapters. So those of you in the back, I'm just going to ask that you please come in, or if you're going to have your conversations, just keep them in the hallway and have them quiet down because we can hear the voices from here. There we go. So Mahabhagavad Prabhu said that anyone who is having a conversation, If you don't come in the temple room now, you are obligated to sponsor 133 Bhagavad Gitas for $1,000 each. So if you want to continue your conversations, I mean, it's up to you. It's not my wallet. All right, so we're going to start now. I'll hand it off to Ma Bhagavad Prabhu and Arunakeshwari Mataji.
Chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tu te guyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajñatva mokshase shubhat rajavidya rajaguyam pavitram idam uttamam pratyakshavāgamam dharmyam susukam kartum avyayam ashraddhadanah purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani matchaham tveshavastitah nacha matsthani bhutani pashyame yogam aishvaram bhuta bhrinacha bhutasto mamatma bhuta bhavanah yathakasha stito nityam vayuh sarvatra yago mahan तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानीति उपधारया सर्वभूतानि कौन्तेया प्रकृतिं यान्ति मामिकां कल्पक्षये पुनस्स्थानि कल्पादो विसृजाम्यहं प्रकृतिं स्वामवस्थाभ्य विसृजाम्य पुनः पुनः भूताग्रामम् इमं कृत्स्नम् अवश्यं प्रकृते वशात् नाचा मां तानि कर्माणि निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जया उदासीनवद् आसीनन् असक्तं तेषु कर्मसु मध्याद्याक्षेण प्रकृति सूयते साचराचरं हेतुनानेन कौन्तेय जगद्विप्रविवर्तते अवजानन्ति मामूढः मानुषीं तनुमाश्रितं परं भावमजानन्तो मम भूतमहेश्वरं मोघाशामोघकर्माणो मोघज्ञानविचेतसः राक्षसीम् असुरीं चैव प्रकृतिमोहिनीं श्रितः महात्मानस्तु मां पार्थ देवीं प्रकृतिम् आश्रितः भजन्ति अनन्यमनसो ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययं सततं कीर्तयन्तो मां यतन्तश्च दृढव्रतः मनमस्यन्तश्च मां भक्त्या नित्या युक्ता उपासते ज्ञानयज्ञेन चाप्यन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतो मुखम् अहं क्रतुरहं यज्ञः सर्वधाम् अहम् औषधं मन्त्रोऽहम् अहम् एवाज्यम् अहम् अग्निरहं हुतं पिताहमस्य जगतो माता दाता पितामहः वेद्यं पवित्रम् ओंकार ऋक्साम यजुरेव च
गतिर्भर्ता प्रभु साक्षी निवासः शरणं सुहृत् प्रभव प्रलयस्थानं निधानं बीजमव्ययम् तपाम्यहम् अहं वर्षं निगृह्णाम्युत्सृजामि च अमृतं चैव मृत्युश्च सदसच्चाहमर्जुन त्रैविद्या मां सोमपाः पूतपापा यज्ञैरिष्ट्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते ते पुण्यम् आसाद्य सुरेन्द्रलोकम् अश्नन्ति दिव्यान् दिवि देव भोगान् ते तं भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालं क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति एवं त्रयी धर्ममनुप्रपन्ना गतागतं कामकामा लभन्ते अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जना पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम् येऽप्यन्यदेवता भक्ता यन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः ते विमामेव कौन्तेय यन्त्यविधिपूर्वकम् अहं हि सर्वयज्ञानां भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु मामभिजानन्ति तत्त्वेनातश्च वन्दिते यान्ति देवव्रता देवान् पितॄन् यान्ति पितृव्रताः भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्या यान्ति मद्याजिनोऽपि माम् पत्रं पुष्पं फलं तोयं यो मे भक्त्या प्रयच्छति तदहं भक्त्युपहृतमश्नामि प्रयतात्मनः यत्करोषि यदश्नासि यज्जुहोषि ददासि यत्तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत्कुरुष्व मदर्पणम् शुभाशुभफलैरेवं मोक्षसे कर्मबन्धनैः सन्न्यासयोगयुक्तात्मा विमुक्तो मामुपैष्यसि समोऽहं सर्वभूतेषु न मे द्वेष्योऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि ते तेषु चाप्यहम् अपि चेत् सुदुराचारो भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव स मन्तव्यः सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सः क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वच्छान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति मां हि पार्थ विपाश्रित्य येऽपि स्युः पापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्रास्तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम् किं पुनर्ब्राह्मणा पुण्या भक्ता राजर्षयस्तथा अनित्यमसुखं लोकम् इमं प्राप्य भजस्व माम् मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामेवैष्यसि युक्त्वैवम् आत्मानं परायणः ओम तत्सत् श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे राजविद्या राजगुह्य योगो नाम नवमोऽध्यायः।
Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 10, The Opulence of the Absolute. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Listen again, O mighty armed Arjuna, because you are my dear friend. For your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained." Text 2. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all worlds, he only undiluted among men, is freed from all sins. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame and infamy, all these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. The 7 great sages, and before them the 4 other great sages and the Manus, the progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, and their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Arjuna said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devala and Vyasa confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me? O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency. O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe, please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? O Janardana, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent. O Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless. I am the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all living beings. Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Of lights, I am the radiant sun. Of the Marutas, I am Marichi. And among the stars, I am the moon.
Of the Vedas, I am Samaved. Of the demigods, I am Indra, the king of heaven. Of the senses, I am the mind. And in the living beings, I am the living force, consciousness. Of all Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Of the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of wealth, Kuvera. Of the Vasus, I am fire, Agni. And of mountains, I am Meru. O priest, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief, Brihaspati. Of generals, I am Kartikeya. And of the bodies of water, I am the ocean. Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Of vibration, I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of holy name, Japa. And of immovable things, I am the Himalayas. Of all trees, I am the banyan tree. And of sages among the demigods, I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitratha. And among perfected beings, I am the sage Kapila. Of horses, know me to be Uchchaishwarya, produced during the churning of the ocean for nectar. Of lordly elephants, I am Airavat, and among men, I am the monarch. Of weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am the Surabhi. Of causes for procreation, I am Kandarpa, the god of love. And of servants, I am Vasuki. Of the many-hooded Nagas, I am Ananta, and among the aquatics, I am the demigod Varuna. Of departed ancestors, I am Aryama, and among the dispensers of law, I am Yama, the lord of death. Among the Daityas, demons, I am the devoted Prahlad. Among subduers, I am Time. Among beasts, I am the lion, and among birds, I am Garuda. Of purifiers, I am the wind. Of the wielders of weapons, I am Rama. Of fishes, I am the shark. And of flowing rivers, I am the Ganges. Of all creations, I am the beginning and the end, and also the middle. O Arjuna, of all sciences, I am the spiritual science of the self. And among logicians, I am the conclusive truth. Of letters, I am the letter A, and among compound words, I am the dual compound. I am also inexhaustible time, and of creators, I am Brahma. I am all devouring death, and I am the generating principle of all that is yet to be. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. Of the hymns in the Samaved, I am the Bruhat Sama, and of poetry, I am Gayatri. Of months, I am Margashirsha, November through December. And of the seasons, I am flower-bearing spring. I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid, I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. Of the descendants of Vishnu, I am Vasudeva, and of the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyasa, and among great thinkers, I am Ushana. Among all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment, and of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence, and of the wise, I am the wisdom. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. There is no being, moving or non-moving, that can exist without me. O mighty conqueror of enemy, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe.
Chapter 11, The Universal Form. Arjuna Uvacha Mat Anugrahaya Paramam Guhyam Adhyatma Samnitam Yat Tvayoktam Vachasatena Mohoyam Vigato Mama Pavapyayo Hi Bhutanam Shruto Vistaraso Maya Tattva Kamala Patraksha Mahatmayam Api Chavyayam एवं एतद् यथा तत्त्वम् आत्मानं परमेश्वर द्रष्टुम् इच्छामि ते रूपम् ऐश्वरं पुरुषोत्तम मनसि यदि तच्छक्यं मया द्रष्टुम् इति प्रभो योगेश्वर ततो मे त्वं दर्शयात्मानम् अव्ययम् श्रीभगवान् उवाच पश्य मे पार्थरूपाणि शतशोऽस्तासहस्रश नानाविधानि दिव्यानि नानावर्णाकृतीनि च पश्यादित्यान् वसुरुद्रान् अश्विनौ मरुतस्तथा बहूनि अदृष्टपूर्वाणि पश्याचर्याणि भारत ह्यैकस्थं जगत्कृत्स्नं पश्याद सचराचरं मम देहे गुडाकेश यच्चान्यद्द्रष्टुम् इच्छसि न तु मां शक्यस्द्रष्टुम् अनेनैव स्वचक्षुषा दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षु पश्य मे योगम् ऐश्वरम् संजय उवाच एवम् उक्त्वा ततो राजन् महायोगेश्वरो हरि दर्शयामास पार्थाय परमं रूपम् ऐश्वरम् अनेकवक्त्रं नयनम् अनेकदा भूतदर्शनम् अनेक दिव्याभरणं दिव्यानेकोदयत्तं युद्ध दिव्यमालायादाभरं धरं दिव्यानुलेपनं सर्वाश्चर्यमयं देवम् अनन्तं विश्वतोमुखं दिवि सूर्यसहस्रस्य भवेद्युगपद् उत्थिता यदि सदृशी सा स्यात् भासस्तस्य महात्मना तत्रैकस्थं जगत्कृत्स्नं प्रविभक्तम् अनेकदा अपश्यद्देवदेवस्य शरीरे पाण्डवस्तदा तथा स विस्मयाविष्टो हृष्टरोम धनञ्जय प्रणमय शिरसा देह कृत्स्नाञ्जलिरभासत अर्जुन उवाच पश्यामि देवंस्तव देवदेहे सर्वांस्तथा भूतविशेषसङ्गान् ब्रह्मणामीशं कमलासंस्थं ऋषिंस सर्वान् उग्रंश्च दिव्यान् अनेकबाहुदरवक्त्रनेत्रं पश्यामि त्वां सर्वतोऽनन्तरूपं नान्तं न मध्यं न पुनस्तवादिं पश्यामि विश्वेश्व विश्वरूप किरीटिनां गदीनां चक्रीणां च तेजोरशिं सर्वतो दीप्तिमान्तं पश्यामि त्वां दुर्निरीक्ष्यं समन्तद्दीप्तान् कार्कद्युतम् अप्रमेयम् त्वम् अक्षरं परं वेदित्वयं त्वम् अस्य विश्वस्य परमं निधानम् त्वम् अव्ययस्वस्थधर्मगोप्ता सनातनस्त्वं पुरुषो मतो मे अनादिमाद्यन्तम् अनन्तवीर्यम् अनन्तबाहुं शशिसूर्यनेत्रं पश्यामि त्वां दीप्तहुताशवक्त्रं स्वतेजसा विश्वम् इदं तपन्तं द्वया पृथिव्योरिदम् अनन्तरं हि व्याप्तं त्वया एकेन दिशश्च सर्वाः दृष्ट्वादभूतं रूपम् उग्रं देवेदं लोकं त्रयं प्रवयथितं महात्मम् अमीहि त्वां सुरसङ्गाविष्टान् केचिद्भीता प्रणञ्जलयो गृह्णन्ति स्वष्टीति उक्ता महासिद्धसङ्गाः स्तुवन्ति त्वां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभे रुद्रादित्य वसवो ये ससाद्य विश्वे विश्वो मारुतश्चोष्मपास् गंधर्व यक्षासुरसिद्धसंगा वीक्षन्ते तां विसिमतश्चैव सर्व रूपं महत्ते बहुवक्त्रनेत्रं महाबाहो बाहुरुपादं बहुद्रं बहुदंष्ट्रकरालं दृष्ट्वा लोका प्रवयथितस्तथाहं नाभः स्पर्शं दीप्तम् अनेकवर्णं व्यातानं दीप्तविशलनेत्रं दृष्ट्वा हि त्वं प्रयथितानन्तरात्मा धृतिं न विन्दन् समं च विष्णु दंष्ट्राकरालानि चेतये मुखानि दृष्टैव कालानल सनिभानि दिशो ते न जाने न लभे न समा प्रसीदो देवेश जगन्निवास अमी च त्वां द्रष्टराष्ट्रपुत्रा सर्वसैवानि पालसंगे भीष्मो द्रोणो सुतपुत्रस्तथासौ सहमाद्यारपि योद्धमुख्ये वक्त्राणि ते त्वरमानानि विशन्ति दंष्ट्राकरालानि भयानिकानि केचित् विलङ्गद्रशु संद्रश्यते चुरिनितेरुमङ्गने
यथा नदीनां बहवोऽम्बुवेगा समुद्रमेवाभिमुखा द्रवन्ति तथा तवामि नरलोकवीरा विशन्ति वक्त्राण्यभिज्वलन्ति यथा प्रदीप्तं ज्वलनं पतङ्गा विशन्ति नाशाय समृद्धवेगाः तथैव नाशाय विशन्ति लोकास्तवापि वक्त्राणि समृद्धवेगाः लेलिग्यसेग्रसमानः समन्तान् लोकान् समग्रान् ज्वलनैर्ज्वलद्भिः तेजोभिरापूर्य जगत्समग्रं भासस्तवोग्राः प्रतपन्ति विष्णो आख्याहि मे को भवानुग्ररूपो नमोऽस्तु ते देववरप्रसीद विज्ञातुमिच्छामि भवन्तमाद्यं न हि प्रजानामि तव प्रवृत्तिम् श्रीभगवानुवाच कालोऽस्मि लोकक्षयकृत् प्रवृद्धो लोकान् समाहर्तुमिह प्रवृत्तः ऋते पिता त्वां न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे येव स्थिताः प्रत्यनिकेषु योधाः तस्मात् त्वमुत्तिष्ठ यशो लभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धम् मयैवैते निहताः पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन् द्रोणं च भीष्मं च जयद्रथं च कर्णं तथान्यानपि योधवीरान् मया हतां त्वं जहिमा व्यतिष्ठा युध्यस्व जेता शिरणे तपत्नान् सञ्जय उवाच एतच्छ्रुत्वा वचनं केशवस्य कृताञ्जलिर्वेपमानः किरीटी नमस्कृत्वा भूय एवाह कृष्णं सगद्गदम्भीतः प्रणम्य अर्जुन उवाच स्थाने ऋषिकेश तव प्रकीर्त्या जगत्प्रहृष्यन्त्यनुरज्यते च रक्षांसि भीतानि दिशो द्रवन्ति सर्वे नमस्यन्ति च सिद्धसङ्गा कस्माच्च तेन न मेरन्महात्मन् गरीयसे ब्रह्मणोऽप्यादिकर्त्रे अनन्तदेवेश जगन्निवास त्वमक्षरं सदसत्तत्परं यत् त्वमादिदेवः पुरुषः पुराणः त्वमस्य विश्वस्य परं निधानं वेत्तासि वेद्यं च परं च धाम त्वया ततं विश्वमनन्तरूप वायुर्यमोऽग्निर्वरुणः शशाङ्कः प्रजापतिस्त्वं प्रपितामहश्च नमो नमस्ते सुसहस्रकृत्वः पुनश्च भूयोऽपि नमो नमस्ते नमः पुरस्तादत पृष्ठतस्ते नमोऽस्तु ते सर्वत एव सर्वा अनन्तवीर्यामितविक्रमत्स्वं सर्वं समाप्नोषि ततोषि सर्वः सखेति मत्वा प्रसभं यदुक्तं हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति अजानता महिमानं तवेदं मया प्रमादात् प्रणयेन वापि यच्छावहासार्थसमकृतोऽसि विहारशय्याशनभोजनेषु एकोऽथवाप्यच्युत तक्षमक्षं तक्षामये त्वामहमप्रमेयम् पीतासि लोकस्य चराचरस्य त्वमस्य पूज्यश्च गुरुर्गरीयान् न त्वत्समोच्यत्कृतिकुतोऽन्यो लोकत्रयेऽप्यप्रतिमप्रभाव तस्मात् प्रणम्यं प्रणिधाय कायं प्रसादये त्वामहमीशमीड्यम् पितेव पुत्रस्य सखेव सख्युः प्रियः प्रियायार्हसि देव सोढुम् अदृष्टपूर्वं ऋषितोऽस्मि दृष्ट्वा भयेन च प्रव्यथितं मनो मे तदेव मे दर्शय देवरूपं प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास किरीटिनं गदिनं चक्रहस्तम् इच्छामि त्वां दृष्टुमहं तथैव तेनैव रूपेण चतुर्भुजेन सहस्रबाहो भव विश्वमूर्ते श्रीभगवानुवाच मया प्रसन्नेन तवार्जुनेदं रूपं परं दर्शितमात्मयोगात् तेजोमयं विश्वमनन्तमाद्यं यन्मे त्वदन्येन न दृष्टपूर्वं न वेदयज्ञादयनेर्न दानेर्न च क्रियाभिर्न तपोभिरुग्रैः एवं रूपः शक्य अहं नृलोके दृष्टुं त्वदन्येन कुरु प्रवीरा मा ते व्यथा मा च विमूढभावो दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरमिद्रममेदं व्यपेतभीपीरितमना पुनस्त्वं तदेव मे रूपमिदं प्रपश्य सञ्जय उवाच इत्यर्जुनं वासुदेवस्तथोक्त्वा स्वकं रूपं दर्शयामास भूयः आश्वासयामास च भीतमेनं भूत्वा पुनः सौम्य वपुर्महात्मा अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेदं मानुषं रूपं तव सौम्यं जनार्दन इदानीमस्मि संवृत्तः सचेता प्रकृतिं गतः श्रीभगवानुवाच सुदुर्दर्शमिदं रूपं दृष्टवानसि यन्मम देवा अप्यस्य रूपस्य नित्यं दर्शनकाङ्क्षिणः नाहं वेदैर्न तपसा न दानेन चेज्यया शक्य एवं विदो द्रष्टुं दृष्टवानसि मां यथा भक्त्या त्वनन्यया शक्य अहमेवं विदोऽर्जुन ज्ञातुं द्रष्टुं च तत्त्वेन प्रवेष्टुं च परन्तप मत्कर्म कृण्मत्परमो मद्भक्तः सङ्गवर्जितः निर्वैरः सर्वभूतेषु यः स मामेति पाण्डव ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे विश्वरूपदर्शनयोगो नाम एकादशोऽध्यायः।
Chapter 12, Devotional Service. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be the most perfect. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, but the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. For those whose mind are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me. Having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pratha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action, for by such renunciation one can attain peace of mind. One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. He for whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, such a devotee is very dear to me. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me.
अथ त्रयोदशाध्यायः अर्जुन उवाच प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव क्षेत्रं क्षेत्रज्ञम् एव च एतद्वेदितुमिच्छामि ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं च केशव श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय क्षेत्रमित्यभिधीयते एतद्यो वेति तं प्राहुः क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तद्विदः क्षेत्रज्ञं चापि मां विधि सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोः ज्ञानं यत्तज्ज्ञानं मतं मम तत्क्षेत्रं यच्च यादृक्ष यद्विकारी यतश्च यत् च स च यो यत्प्रभावश्च तत्समासेनु मे शृणु ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतं छन्दोभिर्विविधे पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदैश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्चिते महाभूतान्यहङ्कारो बुद्धिरव्यक्तमेव च इन्द्रियाणि दशैकं च पञ्चचेन्द्रियगोचराः इच्छा द्वेषः सुखं दुःखं सङ्घातश्चेतना धृतिः एतत्क्षेत्रं समासेन सविकारम् उदाहृतम् अमानित्वम् अदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यम् आत्मविनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यं नाहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वं रतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वं तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतत् ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यद् अथोन्यथा ज्ञेयं यत्तत् प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वामृतमश्नुते अनादिमत्परं ब्रह्म न सत्तन्नासदुच्यते सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वक्षीक्षिरोमुखं सपतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वमावृत्य तिष्ठति सर्वेन्द्रियगुणाभासं सर्वेन्द्रियविवर्जितम् असक्तं सर्वभृच्छैव निर्गुणं गुणभोक्तृ च बहिरन्तश्च भूतानाम् अचरं चरमेव च सूक्ष्मत्वात् तदविज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चान्तिके च तत् अविभक्तं च भूतेषु विभक्तम् इव च स्थितं भूतभ्रातृच्च तत् ज्ञेयं प्रसिष्णु प्रभविष्णु च ज्योतिषामपि तज्ज्योतिस्तमसः परमुच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितम् इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञाय मद्भावायोपपद्यते प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव विद्यानादि उभावपि विकारांश्च गुणांश्चैव विधि प्रकृतिसम्भवान् कार्योकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतु प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि पुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गस्य सदसद्योनिजन्मसु उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परात्म्यति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः य एवं वेति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न सभूयो विजायते ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये साखेन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे अन्ये त्व एवमाजनन्तः श्रुतवानेभ्य उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणः यावत् सञ्जायते किञ्चित् सत्त्वं स्थावरजङ्गमं क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञसंयोगात् तद्विधि भरतर्षभ समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरं विनयस्त्वविनश्यन्तं यः पश्यति सुपश्यति समं पश्यन् हि सर्वत्र समवस्थितम् ईश्वरं न हि नस्त्यात्मनात्मानं ततो याति परां गतिं प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति यदा भूतपृथग्भावम् एकस्थम् अनुपश्यति तत एव च विस्तारं ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते तदा अनादित्वं निर्गुणत्वात् परमात्मायमव्ययः शरीरस्थोऽपि कौन्तेय न करोति न लिप्यते यथा सर्वगतं सौक्ष्म्याद् आकाशमुपलिप्यते सर्वत्रावस्थितो देहे तथात्मानोपलिप्यते यथा प्रोकश्यते एकः कृत्स्नं लोकमिमं रविः क्षेत्रं क्षेत्री तथा कृत्स्नं प्रकाशयति भारत क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूतप्रकृतिर्मोक्षं च ये विदुज्ञान्ति ते परम् ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञविभागयोगो नाम त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः.
Chapter 14, the three modes of material nature. Just checking. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again, I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all sages have attained the supreme perfection. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. The total material substance, called Brahman, is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living entities, O son of Bharat. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving Father. Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entities come in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjun, he becomes conditioned by these modes. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by the sense of happiness and knowledge. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. O son of Bharat, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. O son of Bharat, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the mode of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharat, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. The manifestation of mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. O chief of the Bharats, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activities, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains the pure, higher planets of the great sages. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance, develop foolishness, madness, and illusion. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. When the embodied soul is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Arjuna inquired, "My dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes?" What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illusion, he does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long from them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbing through all these reactions of the material qualities, remain neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal towards the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who is renowned of all material activities, such a person is said to have transcended the modes of material nature. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Hare Krishna.
अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययं छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित् अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रसृतास्तस्य शाखा गुणा प्रवृद्धा विषया प्रबाला अधश्च मूलान्यनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके न रूपमस्येह ततोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा तथा पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूया तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यथा प्रवृत्तिर्प्रसृता पुराणी निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसङ्गे गच्छन्त्यमूढा पदमव्ययं तद् न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम महैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूता सनातना मनःषष्ठानि इन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यद्वाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयत् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं निश्चयानुपसेवते उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्यात्मन्यवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति चेतसः यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयतेऽखिलं यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्वामकम् गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्यहमोजसा उष्णामि चौषधि सर्वा सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणपानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधं सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम् द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरश्चाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते उत्तम पुरुषस्त्वन्या परमात्मेत्युदारिता यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य विभर्तव्य ईश्वरः यस्माक्षरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रज्ञा पुरुषोत्तमः यो मामेवं सम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद् भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदमुक्तं मया नघ एतद्बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे पुरुषोत्तमयोगो नाम पञ्चदशोऽध्यायः।
Chapter 16, the Divine and Demoniac Natures. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to the godly men endowed with divine nature. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Pritha. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demoniac qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demoniac. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demoniac. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness, nor proper behavior, nor truth is found in them. They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Following such conclusions, the demoniac, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules or regulations. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. There are 3 gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. The man who has escaped these 3 gates of hell, O son of Kunti, perform acts conducive to self-realization, and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. He who discards spiritual injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so they may gradually be elevated.
अथ सप्तदशोऽध्यायः श्रद्धात्रयविभागयोगः। अर्जुन उवाच ये शास्त्रविधिमुत्सृज्य यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेषां निष्ठा तु का कृष्ण सत्त्वम् आहो रजस्तमः। श्रीभगवानुवाच त्रिविधा भवति श्रद्धा देहिनां सा स्वभावजा सात्विकी राजसी चैव तामसी चेति तां शृणु। सत्त्वानुरूप सर्वस्य श्रद्धा भवति भारत। श्रद्धामयो अयं पुरुषो योचत् श्रद्धः स एव सः। यजन्ते सात्विका देवान् यक्षरक्षांसि राजसाः प्रेतान् भूतगणांश्चान्ये यजन्ते तामसा जनाः। अशास्त्रविहितं घोरं तप्यन्ते ये तपो जनाः दम्भाहङ्कारसंयुक्ताः कामरागबलान्विताः कर्षयन्तः शरीरस्थं भूतग्रामम् अचेतसः मां चैवान्तशरीरस्थं तन्विद्धि आसुरनिश्चयान्। आहारस्त्वपि सर्वस्य त्रिविधो भवति प्रियः यज्ञस्तपस्तथा दानं तेषां भेदम् इमं शृणु। आयुसत्त्वबलारोग्य सुखप्रीतिविवर्धनः रस्या स्निग्धस्थिरा हृद्य आहार सात्विकः प्रियाः कट्फलं लवनात्युष्णा तीक्ष्णरूक्षविधाहिना आहार राजसस्येष्ठा दुःखशोकाम्यप्रदाः यथा यामं गतः रसं पूति प्रयुसिति च यत् उच्छिष्टम् अपि चामेध्यं भोजनं तामसप्रियम्। अफलाकाङ्क्षिभिर्यज्ञो विधिदिष्टो य युज्यते यष्ट्व्यम् एवेति मनः समाधाय स सात्विकः। अभिसन्धाय तु फलं दम्भार्थम् अपि चैव यत् युज्यते भरतश्रेष्ठ तं यज्ञं विद्धि राजसम्। विद्धिहीनम् असृष्ठानं मन्त्रहीनम् अदक्षिणम् श्रद्धाविरहितं यज्ञं तामसं परिचक्ष्यते। देवद्विज गुरुप्रज्ञा पूजनं शौचमार्जवम् ब्रह्मचर्यम् अहिंसा च शरीरं तप उच्यते। अनुद्वेगकरं वाक्यं सत्यं प्रियं हितं च यत् स्वाध्यायाभ्यसनं चैव वाङ्मयं तप उच्यते। मनः प्रसाद सौम्यत्वं मौनम् आत्मविनिग्रहः भावसंशुद्धिरिति तत्तपो मानसमुच्यते। श्रद्धया परया तप्तं तपस्तत्त्रिविधं नरैः अफलाकाङ्क्षिभिर्युक्तैः सात्विकं परिचक्ष्यते। सत्कारमानपूजार्थं तपोदम्भेन चैव यत् क्रियते तद् इह प्रोक्तं राजसं चलम् अध्रुवम् मूढग्रहाणेतात्मनो यत् पीडय क्रियते यत् परस्योत्सादनार्थं वा तत्तामसम् उदाहृतं दातव्यम् इति यत्